Good morning. So in this video, I just wanted to briefly explain what I perceive to be a false dialectic between materialism and the eternal forms of Plato. So Plato and materialism seem to start in very, very different and very opposite places, which they do, but they're ultimately laying out sort of the same schema. So Plato starts way up here in the realm of the eternal forms, and materialists start way down here with matter. But ultimately they're saying the same thing, and here's how they're doing it. Plato. Number one, Plato, as far as I understand it, Plato's not saying that the realm the realm of shadows and copies of the ideas or of the eternal forms aren't real. He's just saying that it's a filtered perspective. So you're not perceiving reality in its purest form. You're sort of you're perceiving things you're perceiving reality through a veil. You're not seeing the essence of, you're not perceiving the essence of what you're witnessing, what you're viewing. Now, the only way to access that would be to perceive the forms directly. Well, materialists are doing the same thing. So what many materialist scientists are now arguing is that what we see when we look out at the world around us is not how things actually are. It's how it appears to us after it has been filtered through our retina and the optic nerve, and it's been processed by the brain, and so on and so forth. This physical, organic computer here in our head. After it has gone through the electrical circuitry of the brain and through the chemical processes that it undergoes, it shoots back out the other side as the image that we see, which is not the image in its purest form. It's not the thing itself. It's not the thing in its purest form. It's just what we see that's projected after it's gone through certain processes. So in that regard, materialists and the Platonic worldview are the same worldview. Excuse me. Materialism and the Platonic worldview are the same worldview. In my view, and also it happens to be true in Tantric philosophy or Kashmir Shaivism, what we perceive is a direct perception. So when I look out at the world, I am seeing a totally accurate image of what is being presented to me. What I'm seeing are the unfiltered, unmediated contents of divine consciousness as God perceives them through this localized instantiation of God, which is the individual Jonathan. That has a lot of implications for metaphysics, a lot of implications for how we go about working out our understanding of the world and ethics, doesn't seem like that at first blush. Maybe it just seems like some arcane exercise, some just abstruse, philosophical concept that people enjoy having fun with and talking about. But no, it actually has a lot of implications. So this video might have seemed to be more of a an aside, or what's the word I'm looking for? Parenthetical video in a way, which it kind of is, but it was important to lay that out. This goes directly to the importance of what we talked about previously regarding Heraclitus's logos, which is basically what people call the flux, which is why he symbolizes it with fire. And he was greatly influenced by Zoroastrianism, by the Persians. And I think it's reasonable to say, as does, for example, the contemporary philosopher Jason Giorgiani, that he used his symbol, that he took his symbol from the Persians, because he gained an insight into reality that in large part came from their influence, their impact on him. This greatly disturbs a lot of people, because if there is nothing like these eternal forms, then the fear that people have is that there are no underlying or overarching principles whereby we must live, right? There are no universal principles to live by, and we kind of just make things up as we go. And I want to tell you that's not true. I can't get into all the reasons now why, because that's going to come later in the series when we discuss the ethical implications of my worldview. But there's still much more foundation, metaphysical foundation, to lay. So we have a number of things that need to be teased out before we arrive at ethics. But that will close this one out, and I will pick up again in the next video with, I'm not sure yet where I want to pick up from here, but there's a lot of places we could go, and I'll try to make sure that we do it in an orderly and kind of logical fashion.